Hey y'all! I'm back again with another Pokemon Challenge video. Pokemon Red with only Jigglypuff was a lesson in patience, so this time I decided to try something that I thought would be a little bit easier. I wanted to see if I could beat Pokemon Red using only one Farfetch'd. As usual, the rules are I can only use Farfetch'd in battle, and I can't use any items in battle. Also, no glitches or exploits, and by the way, if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe and check out more of the videos on my channel. While Jigglypuff had terrible stats, Farfetch'd is at least mediocre. Its average stat is about 55 each, but of much greater concern is the fact that Farfetch'd learns almost exclusively normal type moves. If not for the fact that it learns Peck at the start and Fly by HM, I wouldn't even attempt this run, because the Elite Four Ghost member Agatha would just not be possible. Overall, Farfetch'd isn't going to have a super creative moveset, and after the Jigglypuff run, I'm okay with that. Off at Professor Oak's lab, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Charmander with Farfetch'd. That way, our rival will pick Squirtle. By the end of the run, Squirtle will be a Blastoise, and it'll know Blizzard, a nice type move that Farfetch'd will definitely struggle against, so it should make for the most challenging final battle. I nicknamed my Farfetch'd What the Duck? For all the times my phone autocorrected my anger. For this run, I'll forego showing the first two rival battles since we easily won with Peck and Sand Attack. Farfetch'd is actually pretty strong compared to other first form Pokemon, but against Geodude and Onyx, it doesn't really matter because they're rock types and their defense is so high. Brock's rocks are always ridiculous, and like always, I don't want to just over level until we can easily beat him, so I try this at every level, and level 12 is the earliest that I could get this done. Sand Attack is necessary because otherwise Geodude will just do too much damage and knock us out before we can even get to the Onyx, and Leer is great because while they're missing their attacks, or when Onyx is using Bide, we can dodge the Bide, dodge the attacks, lower their defense to a point where Peck can actually do a significant amount of damage. Although at many times I was tempted just to level Farfetch'd up to level 23, so that I would learn Swords Dance, and we could just Swords Dance 3 times and knock everything out in 2 hits. But, as you can see, I didn't do that, and after dodging plenty of Bides and Screeches and Tackles, we're able to win with just 3 HP left, although 5 after we level up. By the time we reach the rival Bubs in Cerulean City, Farfetch'd is level 18 and it knows Fury Attack, which does multiple hits. Pidgeotto does big damage with Quick Attack, so I try to take it out as quickly as possible, but the rest of his Pokemon aren't too much of a problem. Then again, Farfetch'd isn't that bulky, so it's still a close call against the Squirtle. I battled Bubs first because I can already tell Misty's going to be an issue, and we need the experience. So I battle the rest of the trainers on Nugget Bridge to get Farfetch'd to level 23 so it will learn Swords Dance. The first couple tries against Misty aren't even close, and this is exactly why I needed Swords Dance. Staryu and Starmie just do way too much damage with Water Gun and Bubble Beam, especially Starmie, who loves to crit. As always with any strategy where we have to set up a move that boosts our stats, it leaves us open to attack. So, Bubble Beam and Water Gun are easily able to take us out. But on the second attempt, Starmie decides not to hit us with a critical hit Bubble Beam, and we're able to take it out with a critical hit Fury Attack. Fun fact, when a multi-hit move crits, the rest of the hits will always crit, because this game's code is made of spaghetti. I decided to skip showing you the rival battle on the SS Sand because there was nothing important, but I did pick up the TM for Body Slam. And now that we have Body Slam, all it takes is one Swords Dance and a Body Slam to knock out all of Lieutenant Surge's Pokemon. The Raichu could knock us out with Thunderbolt, but it goes for Thundershock instead, and we're able to easily win. Just outside of Celadon City and above Cycling Road, I pick up the HM for Fly and teach it to Farfetch'd. This is perfect timing since I need to take on the Grass Gym leader Erica. One Swords Dance is definitely enough to knock out all of our Pokemon, and as long as we avoid Sleep Powder from Victory Bell, this battle is a given every single time. It goes for Wrap, so this is an easy win, and we're able to get the Rainbow Badge. By the time I reach Giovanni in the Rocket Game Corner, Farfetch'd has learned Agility. This is great not only for boosting our terrible speed, but also for compounding additional badge boost glitches. With 3 Swords Dances and 3 Agilities, Farfetch'd's attack is 7 times the normal amount, so it can blow through even bulky rock types. After getting the Silph Scope from Giovanni, I skedaddle back to the Pokemon Tower to play through the plot and take out our rival Bubs. Farfetch'd is already much higher level than his Pokemon, plus with Swords Dance they wouldn't stand a chance even if we were the same level. After a lovely layover in Lavender Town, I head to Fuchsia City to take on Koga. He leads off with coughing, which can do big damage, but doesn't. And like always, the key here is to get to wheezing, either strong enough to knock it out, or healthy enough to survive a self-destruct. We're able to one-hit KO his coughings and muck, and wheezing comes out, and thankfully, doesn't go for a self-destruct. So, Farfetch'd just slaps that thing around, and we do not teach Slash, because it always crits, and we want to avoid critical hits with our stat boosts. Now it's off to the Sylph Company to take on rival Bubs once again, and this time his Pokemon are actually at a comparable level. And like always, his Alakazam is super fast, so it likes to land critical hit Psybeams, and it's important to be faster. Thankfully though, we don't have to rely on badge boost glitches for this, we just have agility. Unfortunately though, on our first try we get hit with a sand attack from the Pidgeot while setting up, and by the time we get to the execute, we miss our body slam and get paralyzed with Stun Spore, and then we get confused and we knock ourselves out. Great. It's probably important to mention, since we'll be using Swords Dance for the rest of the run, that confusion damage is calculated as the difference between your attack stat and your defense stat. So, anytime we set up Swords Dance and hit ourselves in confusion, we're very likely to knock ourselves out. Oh yeah, and by the way, we beat Bubs on the second try. After that beatdown, it's off to beat down Giovanni. His Pokemon may be different, but the outcome is essentially the same. We set up Swords Dance, and then Farfetch'd is able to one-hit knock out all of his Pokemon with Body Slam, except Rhyhorn, which does survive on a sliver and hits a horn attack, but really nothing to say here. I might start cutting these out in the future, because Giovanni sometimes is just not worth the effort. Similarly, there's not a lot to say about the gym battle going into Sabrina. Her Kadabra does big damage with Psybeam, and it could critical hit or confuse us, but instead it goes for Disable, and now that we're all set up, Farfetch'd just comes out and is able to Body Slam all of her Pokemon to seal the deal. Her Pokemon may be strong, but they've got bird bones after all. The battle with Blaine is a perfect example of how great Swords Dance is for Farfetch'd. While setting up our agility and Swords Dance combo, his Growlithe actually burns Farfetch'd with Ember, which halves our attack, but even with that reduction, 3 Swords Dances is enough to OHKO everything besides the Arcanine. But it doesn't matter because Blaine uses terrible AI and doesn't actually attack us. Now it's time for the final gym battle and our final battle with Giovanni, although spoiler alert, this battle is a guaranteed win every time. Farfetch'd is easily able to set up against the Rhyhorn, and it's even kind enough to Tail Whip us to give us additional badge boosts. His Rock-type Pokemon are able to survive our attacks, but they like to go for one-hit KO moves that, because we're faster, will never work anyways. I just don't get it. His Pokemon aren't bad, he just has terrible moves and he doesn't do anything. Before heading to Elite Four, we have one more fight with a rival Bubs. And this one is another easy, breezy, beautiful CoverGirl battle. Especially when Farfetch'd is out here at the NFL Combine doing strength and agility training, Bubs' Pokemon just don't stand a chance, and this first round draft pick of a bird is able to clean sweep through his entire team. For background information, this point of the game I've spent about 3 hours real time playing, and I'm genuinely surprised at how good Farfetch'd has been. So let's hope the Elite Four is the same situation. Speaking of which, here are our stats. We're only level 48, but I've got faith in my feathered friend that we can make it through. First up is the Elite Four member Lorelei, and honestly, this is the first roadblock that we've had since the battle with Brock. A road Brock. Here's the problem. Farfetch'd can only take one ice move without being knocked out, and it takes multiple Swords Dance boosts for us to OHKO her Pokemon. They're incredibly bulky, and Dugong's Aurora Beam, when it doesn't outright crit us for the knockout, also has a chance to lower our attack. Eventually I figure out that the real strategy here is to actually body slam the Dugong before setting up Swords Dance, so that she'll either get paralyzed, or just from the damage AI will tell her to use Rest. This gives Farfetch'd 2 free turns to set up Swords Dance and Sweep. Even so, this battle is ridiculously hard because more often than not, Lorelei doesn't go for Rest and instead just knocks out Farfetch'd. This is no joke, I spent as much time battling Lorelei as I did during the entirety of the run up to this point. I've never, and I mean never, wanted to throw a controller before in my life, but I was tempted during this part of the run. And remember, I don't like to save between attempts, so anytime we lose to another Elite Four member, I have to go through and do that whole thing again. Bruno, on the other hand, is an absolute joy. He leads with Onyx, which his best move is Rock Throw, but it still doesn't do all that much, and it's a perfect opportunity to set up all of our boosts. Remember that by the time we're done, Farfetch'd is doing 7 times the normal amount of damage, so even his Rock-type Onyx aren't able to survive. After that, it's a clean sweep, so grab the broom and enjoy the free battle that is Elite Four member Bruno. It's so funny just how objectively terrible the rock-type Pokemon trainers are. I mean, besides Brock at the beginning of the game, who's strong just because our Pokemon are weak, other than that, it's Giovanni and Bruno who literally never pose an issue. Agatha, on the other hand, is always a problem. She leads off with Gengar, and we are completely at the mercy of its deplorable moveset and her horrible AI as we try to set up our moves. Hypnosis puts us to sleep, and Dream Eater does incredible damage. Nightshade is based off of her Pokemon's level and is a 3-hit KO, and Confuse Ray is bad because boosting our attack with Swords Dance means we'll take huge damage from Confusion Recoil like I mentioned earlier. On top of that, a lot of times we'll get mostly set up only for her Golbat to come out and haze away our boosts while we're either asleep or confused. Once we actually get all of our boosts, it's a clean sweep pretty much, but my god does this woman make you earn it. I lose to her multiple times, and remember, when I lose I have to go back and battle Lorelei again, which I don't want to experience any more than I already have to. Lance by comparison is much easier, although not free like Bruno. He's still definitely a challenge. His lead Gyarados crit my Farfetch'd with both Hydro Pump and Hyper Beam several times while we were trying to set up. On one attempt, I even needed to set up another Agility against his Dragonair, and it knocked us out with Dragon Rage, which always does 40 HP, but since Farfetch'd has so little HP, it actually is a big chunk. I could theoretically use the rare candies I collected along the way to level up Farfetch'd at this point, just to make it a bit easier, but I don't do that. Instead, I just stick with the strategy that I know works, because I am determined to get this done at the lowest level possible. Ideally, Gyarados will come out and either use a couple Dragon Rages or use Leer and nothing else, because remember, Leer lowering our defense will badge boost our attack and speed and also special, although that doesn't really matter as much in this battle. And the defense boosts don't matter as much because Aerodactyl's really the only problem Pokemon past the Gyarados, and it likes to crit, which negates the defense drops anyways. I should mention it's about a 50-50 chance that he goes for either Bite or Hyper Beam, and Hyper Beam will knock us out with our defense drop even if he does crit, but thankfully he just goes for Bite most of the time, for whatever reason. I find the Gen 1 AI so interesting, and eventually I think I might do a video where I do a deep dive on the source code to figure out exactly what's going on. And now, it's time to take on the champion Bubs. On our first attempt, Pidgeot finally goes for that elusive Sky Attack, and wouldn't you know it, we go down to a critical hit. Granted, Sky Attack does have a higher critical hit rate, but the first Sky Attack we've ever seen in these challenges, and it ends up being a critical hit. After much effort, we get back to the champion again, and we are able to breeze past the Pidgeot and even the Alakazam, but then Rhydon comes out and goes for a Fury attack, and remember earlier in the run when I mentioned that multi-hit moves will always continue to crit after that first crit? Well, it happens here and Farfetch'd goes down. After many more tries, I finally managed to get back to the champion Bubs, and at several points I just considered giving this one up because I knew it was possible, but I was just so frustrated. And I could have easily used rare candies like I mentioned, but for some reason I'm so determined to get this one done as low as possible. Eventually though, by the grace of the cosmos, we're able to win, and Farfetch'd, to my amazement, is only level 55. And with that we've completed the challenge, and this one was a real doozy. The first part of the challenge flew by, but the Elite Four was almost as bad as the Voltorb run. This run would have been so much easier using something like Double Team, which Farfetch'd can learn, but in the end, I'm glad I stuck it out and managed to beat the run with a full 10 levels lower than our rival's Ace Blastoise. And besides, when is the last time, if ever, that you saw a Farfetch'd in the Hall of Fame? For anything. I mean, like, what the duck, really? I want to thank each and every one of you for making it to the end of this Farfetch'd video, and while these challenge videos are a lot of fun to make, they are also a ton of work, especially this one, and I really do appreciate it. There's a playlist on my channel where you can find the rest of my Pokemon Challenge videos if you want to check those out as well. And while you're at it, make sure that you are subscribed and enable notifications, that way you'll know right away the next time one of these episodes is uploaded. I'm already working on the next video where I try to beat Pokemon Red using only one Vulpix. Let me know in the comments what other Pokemon you want to see, and until next time,